Restoring Men and History, and I just came across a fantastic piece for you men. The Founding Fathers would be ashamed at how few American men still hunt. Bradley Haley, January 23rd, 2024, Federalist.com. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service in October 2023 released its latest report on recreational hunting and fishing. It revealed that, get this, what do you think the percentage is? Of all American males that venture into the woods to hunt wild game in 2022. What do you think that percentage is? Only 9% of all American males ventured out into the woods to hunt wild game in 2022. And there's this been attack on hunting and men, right? Several founding fathers saw outdoorsmanship as beneficial for society, and many were avid outdoorsmen themselves. During his time as a surveyor and farmer, Washington spent much of his life in nature. How he did. He would go out days, months, riding the land. He was a phenomenal, outstanding horseman. Beginning around the age of 16, Washington especially enjoyed fox hunting, which Lord Fairfax, one of the most powerful men in Virginia, introduced him to. And that's a whole story. But just imagine for a second. Imagine being out in the woods, exploring new lands, territories for the first time, seeing it, the dangers, what you would experience, how your imagination would be developed, how you would be developed as a man to be watched and riding out in new lands where few had gone before. So anyway, for many years, Washington kept a diary of his frequent hunting expeditions, and it shows his virtuous character. Boy, was he a virtuous man. And we talk a lot about virtue, but let's go on. There were times during his hunts when he would corner a fox, but then decide to spare its life. He wrote about the end of one hunt, quote, "Finding therefore that he was a conquered fox, we took the dogs off and came home to dinner." And Washington is a great role model for you men. He was such a man of virtue, patience, courage, decisiveness, leadership. He's just a magnificent role model. We won't stop here to go into Washington too much. We want to go on, but this piece, let's go back. The decision to take the life of an animal to harvest food or clothing is not one to be taken lightly. Hunting is a practice of taking dominion over creation. But it is also an opportunity to exercise patience and restraint. Now, I need that. You need that. We need that as men. We need to have patience and restraint. Patience when you're starting a new business, that you don't expect it to do too much at the beginning. Patience when you start a new job to learn, get better, build skills. Patience as a boy to learn skills. Patience to not lose your temper. And restraint to not take an action that you might regret later as a man. Patience and restraint, valuable qualities for you men. As Gandalf instructs Bilbo in The Hobbit, by the way, if you like this video, please subscribe, like, comment, hit the notification button. We would appreciate it. As Gandalf instructs Bilbo in The Hobbit, true courage is about knowing not when to take a life, but when to spare one. Great book series, too. Modern men are rarely placed in situations where they can exercise this kind of restraint and courage, right? Today, you're in offices, you're looking at computer screens. Where are you going to practice restraint and courage? Thomas Jefferson, there's some great biographies on this man too, was also an outdoorsman who regularly hunted small game and birds. He strongly advocated for sport shooting. He encouraged his nephew to regularly shoot guns. Why? He said this, because the practice gives boldness, great quality for men, right? Enterprise, great quality if you're starting a business. And independence to the mind, and we certainly need independence to the mind today with all these super narratives coming in and the pushing from the media and the woke mind virus and everything else. We need to have independent minds that can think and process. Boldness is defined as fearless before danger, and we also need boldness as men. Showing or requiring a fearless, daring spirit. As women too, you need it. What kind of dangers can you face today? Media, lawfare, all kinds. If you want to fight and stand peacefully for freedom, you are going to face obstacles. You are going to need boldness to prevent tyranny, to protect freedom. You will need that as men. And by the way, if you've never gone skeet shooting or target shooting, it's a lot of fun and you can build skills in it. Jefferson described himself as a great friend to the manly and healthy exercises of a gun. Now remember, this is a guy who read all these books. He was a very learned man. But he's a great friend to the manly and healthy exercises of the gun. And I still remember my thrill at shooting a .308 rifle as a young boy. And I remember going out to a farm and shooting. I remember these experiences. You'll build memories with this. Washington and Jefferson, here it comes, were among the most learned and influent citizens of the American colonies, but their leisure activities were defined by what? By the woods and farmland they called home, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, Washington could not wait to get back to the farm and out of Philadelphia and out of politics. He did it as a servant for you, for freedom. He didn't have to do it. He did it. Couldn't wait to get back to the woods, the horse, the farm, and out of Philadelphia. Just wanted to get back to the farm. Now, we lived in the woods as kids all day long. We'd go out there all day long, stay till dark, stay till we had to come in for supper. I had woods, fortunately, right by me, right by the house, so we could live in there. Then went to a farm in the summer where we could stay out all day and all day in the dark because there was no supper, right? No parents that were making you come in. So when we were on the farm, out. The stuff we crawled through, it's amazing we didn't die. I mean, we crawled through the thick, dense woods with snakes, bugs, everything. But anyway, it was fantastic and outstanding. I think it develops you. Did the same at Boy Scouts. We went Smoky Mountains every month. Backpacking, hiking in the rain and cold, whatever it was, getting out there develops you. Philmont. All those miles of backpacking at Philmont develops you. Learned men living on the land. It is deeply American idea that every individual should possess some degree both of what? Learnedness and practical ability. Now let's think about that. Learnedness, reading books out of college and after college, or not going to college, but reading good books. Because colleges have now become what? Marxist indoctrination centers, filled with a woke mind virus. And schools are too, elementary, high school, junior. You've seen the tapes. But who's reading good books? Who's developing? Who's building skills? Who's reading and thinking? Who's building practical abilities? Are Marxist indoctrination centers teaching practical abilities or the good books? Yeah, going on. In his information to those who would remove to America, Benjamin Franklin says that unlike their European contemporaries, the founding generation of Americans were both learned and capable. So if you're in a group right now or you're at home, what do you think about those two things? How many people are reading good books? How many people are learning practical skills? And how many people are in the Marxist indoctrination centers? And that was the thing about George Washington. He always wanted to better himself. He was always reading, and Jefferson was always reading. Jefferson had a tremendous library, went in massive debt for his clothes and books and everything. So how many Americans are reading after college? How many are learning? How many are reading good books? So going on. Americans worked the land and lived humbly, but also devoted themselves to what? Study. To study and the arts. How do we use our time today, men? How are you using your time? Something to think about. Today, this is not the case, however. In modern America, only, and this is sad, we know these stats were low, only 2% of American families live on ranches or farms now. We know that there's a faction that wants you in the cities where they can control you, right? Multiple factions, actually. And they want you eating bugs. But anyway, only 2% of American families live on ranches or farms. That's not good. What's going on with the farmland today? Only 4% of Americans with graduate degrees set out on a hunting expedition in 2022. The well-rounded citizens of the early republic seem to have disappeared, he goes on to say. Building manly character. Hunting is an undervalued way to develop the manly character of our founding fathers. thought to be essential to our republic's survival. The experience of braving less than ideal weather, I can speak to this, like I said. Going out at Philmont as a boy, having to start fires in the rain with only 3 matches, being up in the Smokies in the rain, good for you. It was good for me. All right, back to it. Sitting patiently in the woods and calming your nerves as you set your sights on a trophy animal certainly builds character. Hunting also forces you to come face to face with the uncomfortable reality that your food comes from an animal's death. In an economy where meat comes nicely packaged in a plastic at the grocery store, there's a lack of men who have the practical know-how and the fortitude to hunt, butcher, and process meat. True, right? In addition to building manly character, hunting allows the modern man to spend rare hours outdoors. It's true, we're all on screens, computer screens, inside. We drive to meetings, we sit inside meetings, right? Meetings inside, meetings on the phone, meetings online, meetings indoors all the time for us men on these little screens, larger screens. And we talk about camaraderie and friendship and fellowship at Restoring Men in History. What do you get from hunting? What do you get from hiking with a group of guys? Build camaraderie there. And we believe that's very important for you men. Fellowship, camaraderie, friendship. Now, took this next piece, and we'll go back to the Federalist piece, but this one's blog.gritoutdoors.com. Why do people hunt? 9 surprising reasons. We're only going to do a few of these. Hunting brings you close to the wild in multiple ways. Sitting in a stand for hours while you hunt for your prey usually leads to an interesting encounter, with far more animals than you can imagine, and other interesting encounters with animals. Hunting provides us with experiences that others may never get to live. You might not understand that we develop a close connection with an animal we ultimately want to harvest. That is a very special thing and one of the hardest to explain. The challenge, he goes on to say. It always surprises me how my friends and family get shocked, get this, when I come home from hunting empty-handed. It's funny how people always expect you to shoot something every time you go, but that is not possible, right? You may go out day after day and not get anything. It's not automatic, 100%. Hunting is a challenge. This is good for men. And when we overcome our goals, we set new ones. Now, we want you men to set new goals, right? Reach a goal. Why? Build those skills. Once you achieve a goal, set a new one. For example, the first time you succeed in killing a young buck, you will increase the challenge and start hunting for a mature buck. You can as well increase the challenge by changing the weapon from rifle to bow. So, Washington to strive to be better, and you can strive to be better. You can set new goals today. What goal do you want to achieve this year, this month? 6, sense of achievement. This is a good one. This amount does not all require any explanation. We're aware of the fact that an amazing feeling when we complete some task, right? When I complete a task that's important, I like it. I like to get it done. Get a new task going. When you find the succeed in doing that, you can see that as a great achievement. You build a lot of skill, a lot of patience to hunt animals who are very smart. Coming home with meat or protecting your crops. What else? It's out of the office. It's out of the concrete. Hunting, hiking, different sounds. Peace that nature brings to you, right? When you're outside. You're away from the problems of life and the stress. You're out of your everyday activity, pressures and stress. And you're building skills that can help feed your family, right? So you're going to feel accomplished as that. You hunted, you found successful prey, you brought it home to your family. That's going to feel like a sense of accomplishment. Well, going on, this is still this piece. The modern workforce spends the majority of the day at desk and computers. We just said that, which leaves little time for people to engage directly with nature. With the convenience of modern grocery stores, there isn't necessarily a practical need for men to wake up on cold mornings. However, it's a serious need for Americans to spend more time in nature. Now, back to the Federalist piece. The majority of Americans spend an hour or less outside per day. All the while, America boasts myriad woodlands, mountains, prairies that are home to an abundance of game animals. The early Americans thrived on the richness of the same land that modern Americans spend relatively little time cultivating and exploring, right? We're busy. We work a lot. We work hard. We're in meetings inside. We just said it. American outdoorsmanship has a long history dating back to the Founding Fathers and the love of nature. The love of the outdoors and hunting shaped leaders of the early republic like Washington and Jefferson. American outdoorsmanship should not be a hobby only for the rural, high school educated white male, he says. Now, we talk about virtues a lot at Restoring Men in History. The exercise of virtue and the attainment of practical skills make hunting a worthwhile hobby for all modern men to pursue. Look, we want you to build skills. We want you to excel at the virtues, increase in courage in the virtues. At Restoring Men in History, we want you to reach your best and reach your potential and be your best. So what can you do? Well, we've already talked about it, but get outside, take a hike in the rain, backpack, go hunting. Get out there with some friends and do it alone, because I think being out alone is good, and I think doing it with friends, two different purposes. When you're out there alone, you're thinking, you're contemplating in a different way. George Washington always wanted to be better. He's a great role model for you. He was reading, but he was very comfortable. In fact, loved being on a horse and out in the woods. Like we said earlier, couldn't wait to get out of Philadelphia back to Virginia and in the woods. You can use him as a role model and always be learning and improving. Couldn't wait to get out of Philadelphia and back to his farm. If you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification button. Thank you.